How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. We're going through the 5,000 guaranteed prize pool here for the Friday night games, the Sharks, the Knights, the Panthers, the Rabbitohs. You can enter the individual ones as well, but I'm going to go through all of them in one video here, all the best selections for your squads. And we're going to start with the outside backs. And some most important ones here, I think it's really interesting that we see Gagai and Ramian really high in the salary at over 18,000 there. When you got Latrell and also Kalen Ponga, a couple of grand cheaper. So I think they're the better options, Latrell or Ponga, if you're going to go a little bit higher in in your salary cap in the outside backs for these two games here. And also Isaac Tungo. So his price has really gone up after his first three amazing games. 58.9 he's averaging there. And has the opportunity to do that again, but up against a good South side. Yes, they have Cleary back, which is very, very helpful. But yeah, the price is getting a bit up there now and a little bit annoying. But any of those selection of three would work well for your side. If you're going to go a bit cheaper, just be aware that Stephen Crichton loses his goal kicking now with Cleary coming back. So I don't think he's the best option at this point. Taylor May comes off 56.2, but will he score 3 tries again? Probably not. Not against the Souths, who have just started to play well. But he is someone who could do well on that left side, the same as Isaac Tungo has been doing lately. Talakai was a good option last week, but he moves to the centres this week with Teague Wilton coming back. So we'll speak about him a little bit later. Bradman Best could be a solid option, coming off a couple of a better game last week and up against the Sharks. Will he be able to score well there? The Sharks are playing well. That's something to consider. And if you think that he can continue to do well, he's not someone that's played a bunch of games in a row recently with all the injuries he's had. So he could do well. He's someone that's a solid option. But if you're going to go a bit cheaper, Dom Young at 10,890, coming off a bunch of good scores. Obviously not as good at last game, but they also got beat against Panthers. So they're enjoying going right at the moment, and he can continue to score tries and make some good points for you at that lower price point. Two guys that I would be interested in selecting at the real cheap price would be Tane Milne, coming off a okay score at 25.8. He has an opportunity to get over 30 for you if they can do okay against the Panthers. But again, it's going to be tough to beat them. And our last one is going to be Jackson Paulo there, who has 9,000 to his name as well, and a couple of decent scores. Obviously a lighter one last week, but he should do okay also. All right, so we look at Mr. Nathan Cleary and Nicholas Hines in our top two positions here in the half hooker section at 23,950 and 23,440. So massive salary cap here, and I'm probably going to be looking to go a little bit lighter in the forwards, and I think you should do that as well. If you're tempted to go both of these guys, it makes it really hard to spend up, so I'd be going cheap in the outside backs and the wing and the forwards. But if you're just going one of these guys, I think Nico's probably the safer option coming up against Newcastle. I think the Penrith Souths game, yes, Nick Cleary could do amazing, but it's his first game back. Is he going to come out firing straight away? I think he will, but you can go that 500 cheaper and go Nico if you're just going one of them. So I'd go for those top two guys before I'd go for a Cook Brayley. But if you wanted to go a bit cheaper, I'd go Brayley over Cook, just because he's been playing really well, averaging 60 and is 6,500 cheaper than Cleary, for example. Clifford's also been going well, so he's an option there if you want to go a little bit cheaper and you don't want to go the top guys. And then if you're looking down the line a little bit further, you have guys like Clune at 9,930. Who's averaging 38.2 and been really consistent across those first few games. So I think he's a really, really good bang for buck kind of player in the halves and the hookers. Anyone else I wouldn't be looking at? Ilias is growing as a player up against Penrith. I'd be holding off on him, for example, at this stage. If we move to the forwards, there's a few guys to select here. And again, I'm probably just going to go straight to the bottom and look for the cheap guys. And someone I look for straight away would be Leo Thompson. So he's been playing really, really well off the bench for the Knights, getting good minutes, and I don't see that changing this week. If he can get somewhere between 30 and 35 minutes again, then I'll expect to score between 35 and 40 with that nice points per minute there. So he's someone I think at 9,000, you just plug him in straight away. You've got 3 forwards to pick from, and I think he's the guy that is a must-have this week, just so you can get some of the stronger guys in your team. Other guys to look at are guys like Brodie Jones. So he gets his first game of the year, coming off a little bit of an injury and then into COVID last week. He gets that edge back row spot, taking over from Barnett at 10,980. You'd expect somewhere between the 40 to 50 mark for Brodie if he comes out and plays big minutes, which I think he should. Unless he could get 65 minutes, for example, but I think he can still get somewhere around that 40 mark, even if he gets the low minutes and has a high of about 50 if he can get close to 80 minutes. So he's a good one there. Looks like Liam Martin won't play, so that won't change things in the back row for the Panthers boys. If we're looking a little bit more expensive, then I go for Curdy Mann. So he's got a 50 average now, which if he gets 50 at 13,230, you make some it's some really good value there. Coming off of 71.1, I spoke about last week that he wouldn't be getting that 35.8 again, I don't think, and I feel like around that 50 mark for him is going to be pretty safe and solid for Curdy Mann. So that's kind of my thoughts around those cheaper guys. And then a little bit higher, we've got Teague Wilton, who's had two really, really good games, obviously 2 tries in those 2. So he's back this week after missing 1 week with a suspension. So at 15,500, if you had that little bit extra cash, I think he's going to be a great option over Nakora, for example, or Keon Kolomatangi, who did have a great game, but I can't see it happening again against the Panthers this week. So that's probably that. And if you wanted to go more expensive up top, maybe if you're playing in the individual games rather than the combined here, then Cam Murray and Frizzell are going to be great. So obviously Cam coming off an 84.2, Frizzell coming off 3 really consistent games. They're both going to do really well for your sides, and I'd go right to them, and then anyone down below, I just pick the guys that I selected. I think Daniel Saifiti's going to improve on that 38.4, but I don't think it's worth picking him up now. Maybe in a week or two. And Finucane, with McInnes, starting to gain a few extra minutes, I think Finucane's minutes will drop a little bit as well. He's played 2 really big games to start the year, and I think that will fall away just a tad. And Isaiah Yeo as well had 2 awesome games, played 80 minutes, and he's going to continue playing big minutes, but scores around the 55 to 60 will probably be natural for him. Anyway, those are my selections, guys, for the Friday night games. I hope you got a lot out of that. Hope you're learning how the system works and the scoring and stuff like that. And if you have any questions, just jump in the comments below and get in there and ask away. And good luck with those games. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.